Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, boys, and the few girls that do watch. I appreciate all y'all. This video is going to be on Anadrol. However, this is going to be a different video than any of the other videos on Anadrol that you're going to find on YouTube. I guarantee you that. Alright? I'm not just going to be reading through one of these books and, telling you the pharmacology and all this bullshit. No. I'm going to tell you my personal experience, how it affected me, and how you can use it to make, your cycle better, to get more muscular, and really get the full benefit out of it, okay? So I'm going to be reading some of my notes just so I don't miss anything, all right? So bear with me. But, okay, I'm honestly, here's really the reason why I'm making this video as well. I am so sick of these influencers, YouTube, whatever, coming on here and just fucking fear-mongering, right? They're just scaring people away from all of these different compounds. And I'm going to go ahead and be specific here. Ryan Russo is a good example. The dude is scared of everything. Literally everything. If you watch his videos, he does these things where he reads from the anabolic textbook and he just reads all these side effects and shit that he's probably never even used. And if he did, he probably did it wrong and it was 10 years ago. So, what the fuck does he know? Honestly, another good way to judge it is, how does he look? How long's he been doing this? He looks like shit. It's for a reason, guys. He's scared to take the compounds that work because he's been brainwashed basically to think, they're going to kill him. But the reality is, they're not, guys. Hormones are pretty safe. It takes decades of abuse before something can go wrong, honestly. And if you harm mitigate while you're using this stuff, you can use it for decades and nothing's going to go wrong. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of people, if not more, there are more on this planet that have been using this shit for decades? There's quite a few. Quite a few. Now, on top of that, listen, the reality is, if you want to be a bodybuilder, if you want to look like the people you admire on social media and all this stuff, you're going to have to take the compounds that those people are taking, that we know work, right? You can't be messing with these, 250 milligram test and some SARMs. You're not going to look like a bodybuilder, okay? And I know because I did this. I tried. I listened to this bullshit advice. And that's why I'm so passionate about this and trying to teach people the truth. Because I can save you the headache, save you the waste of money on all this bullshit, and get the things that actually work, right? So if you want to be serious about this, you want to look like a bodybuilder, you got to take the stuff the bodybuilders are taking. It's really that, it's really that simple, all right? And also now, specifically about Anadrol, it's not going to kill you guys. I don't know where this misconception of it being incredibly liver toxic came from. The reality is, it is not. It is not that liver toxic. And it's a very well-studied medication. It's still being prescribed to this day, okay? Sometimes, I saw one case study where it was prescribed to elderly women for years on end, okay? They were prescribed Anadrol for years. No break. And guess what? They didn't die, okay? So if feeble old women are able to take this shit for years and not die, what do you think? If you're a well able-bodied young man who's trying to be a bodybuilder, do you think, 8 weeks of Anadrol is going to kill you? I'd say probably not, okay? And I hope that you would agree with me if you have some logic, right? So, there's that. And here's the thing too, right? I'm not advocating that Anadrol is safe because that would be irresponsible for me, right? Obviously, it is an androgen. It is relatively powerful, okay? There are going to be side effects like increased blood pressure is really the main one. Of course, acne, hair loss, all that bullshit. All that can be mitigated, as can the blood pressure, but I'm going to get to that here in a second. Okay, so again, I should mention this as well, right? I am saying, and that has been studied, that especially 50 milligrams Anadrol per day really is not that liver toxic. It might raise your values slightly, but oftentimes they might not even go out of range or barely so, right? And this is also going to depend on the duration, how long you're taking it, but it is pretty fucking safe. And, you don't even have to take my word for it. This has literally been studied. There's tons of studies out there online. You can go see yourself. I might even link one in the comments. But so, again, this only applies if you're a healthy, person. If you have some kind of underlying condition, cirrhosis of the liver, you have a sensitive liver, any of these kind of things, definitely you're going to want to stay away from, Anadrol. Really, any kind of oral steroid that's going to put any stress on your liver. Honestly, if you're staying away from that, you should probably stay away from Tylenol too, okay? Because acetaminophen, Tylenol, that stuff, that's even more liver toxic than Anadrol. So think about that, right? Next time someone tells you Anadrol is like the most liver toxic thing, is going to kill you, just no, it's just not, okay? But again, that's as if you're healthy, right? You have a good functioning liver, you're able to process out toxins well. If everything is in order, you're going to be fine, okay? Especially for like an 8-week cycle is like nothing. Oftentimes people will even go 12 weeks and still you're going to be fine. So here we go. And personally, I could be off on this, but from my experience and what I've seen on Bloodworks, 50 milligrams Anadrol a day is far less harmful to the liver than Ostarine. Okay? If you're taking, a relatively high dose of Ostarine, let's say 8 to 12 weeks, your liver enzymes are going to be through the roof, most likely. Definitely higher than if you were to be taking Anadrol. It's just a harsher compound, right? With way less gains, way less benefits, but for whatever reason, it's a SARM and, people just think it's okay. It's like healthy. Anadrol is this big evil thing, but, Ostarine, no problem. It's ridiculous. Really, honestly ridiculous. So next time someone tries to tell you that again, tell them they're an idiot. If you do that for me, I'd be very happy. All right. So this gets me now to the experimentation phase, right? What I've been doing, my personal experimentation. So I like to experiment on myself, so you guys don't have to, right? Learn from my failures, learn from my successes, try and apply it to yourself, and be the best version of you that you can be. That's really all I want. I'm just trying to help you be better, honestly. And by doing that, I make myself better too, right? But so here's my experimentation. This is what I've been doing. Okay, so I have been experimenting with different doses and different durations. I found that, at least for me, using Anadrol strategically around heavy lifts instead of the traditional everyday for, let's call it 8 to 12 week cycle, for me, I find it to be more beneficial to run it sporadically, maybe once a week around my really heavy lift days. Now, this is not because of liver toxicity or anything like that. The reason being, for me, is I was noticing a pretty drastic increase in my blood pressure. And blood pressure is something that is really important, guys, especially if you're fucking with this stuff. You gotta keep track of your blood pressure. It is so important. And now I do take blood pressure medication to help, keep my blood pressure in check because, like I said, I take all these kinds of things. I'm on androgens, I'm on cycle, etc. So, I harm mitigate the best that I can. However, when you take something strong enough on top of a big enough cycle, even these, harm mitigating techniques that we do, like blood pressure medication, etc., might not be enough. And in this instance, it was not enough, right? My blood pressure started creeping up pretty high. It was starting to make me uncomfortable. Not like physically uncomfortable, but my mind, I get anxious about it. I don't like having high blood pressure. I like my kidneys, want to keep them around as long as I can. So it was because of that reason I decided to stop the daily administration of Anadrol. Now, I will say, during that time period that I was taking 50 milligrams a day, it was about 3 weeks, my strength definitely, went through the roof. I was, lifting weights I've never lifted before. Given part of this was I am also on Trenbolone, right? For those of you that watch the channel, I'm on Test, Tren, EQ. And then I had added the Anadrol, right? So at that 50 milligram a day dose, we're looking at about 350 milligrams per week anabolic load for the Anadrol, on top of 350 Tren, 600 EQ, and 600 Test. So, given all of those things combined, put together, my blood pressure was just starting to get out of control. So I decided to drop the Anadrol, right? I did my experimentation. I found the strength was great. The blood pressure was not worth it to me. And to be honest, in terms of a cosmetic look, it didn't change too much for me. Like I said, I think the trend is probably having the most effect on my cosmetic look right now. Of course, the EQ as well. I am running like high test with no AI though, so I am a little, puffy, but I'm okay with that. It is bulking season, right? So, but that's another video. We're gonna get to a different video. We're still just talking about the Anadrol right now. Yeah, I just want to emphasize again, guys, keep track of your blood pressure. It's really, really important. Okay. So this isn't right. Once I stopped the daily administration of Anadrol, after a few days, maybe even up to a week, I did start to notice just like a slight decrease in my strength. Nothing crazy, because like I said, I am also on trend. So for whatever reason, I was kind of able to hold on to some of that strength that I got from the Anadrol that I didn't have beforehand, but definitely not all of it, right? I'm thinking like if I was just on test EQ, ran that Anadrol and then came off, I probably would have lost all the strength, but because of the trend, I think I was able to probably hold on to a little bit of it. So, something to consider, right, when you're designing a cycle. Actually, a new video coming out very soon is going to be how to design a cycle, so keep an eye out for that. However, what I have noticed now that I've stopped taking it daily and I started using it strategically is that I actually still get an acute benefit from taking it. I'll take it about 2 hours before the gym, usually on like a leg day or, something like a heavy, really hard day. And, it has an acute effect. Absolutely. I didn't notice it at first when I first started taking it, interestingly enough. But after running it consecutively for about 3 weeks and then coming off, now when I just take one, I really actually notice it because I kind of feel like I know what I'm looking for, if that makes sense. But basically the feeling is you get a little sweaty, almost kind of like clammy, maybe a little hot flash red, and you kind of just have this feeling like you're ready to go. Even in your warm up, you're stretching in the gym, you might break like a little sweat, and like, oh, it's time. We're about to go right now. And I actually really like that. I think it's really beneficial. I think it's very helpful. So definitely, my opinion, what I would advise to you guys, of course, give Anadrol a try if you want to run it multiple days in a row and, see what that feels like. I encourage you to do so. However, I think the most advantageous way to use it is strategically around heavy lifts. It's going to be less taxing on the body, and you're going to get a lot of the same benefits out of it. Now, the only argument that I could see for taking Anadrol every day consecutively would be in a bodybuilding prep. When you're prepping for a contest, basically, when you're prepping for a show. Under those circumstances, I could see the argument for taking it every day because it is going to give you kind of a cosmetic look as well. And also, it's going to help you maintain that strength and muscle mass as you're dieting down. Because really, that is what it's prescribed for, right? Is muscle wasting disease. So it is helpful for that. Could you use Anavar instead? Sure. Potentially Anavar would work as well. But this video is on Anadrol. So that would be, my reasoning for using it every day versus using it sporadically. I should also mention not everybody notices the effect from Anadrol acutely. Now, I chalk this up to it probably just being poor quality because, if you got real Anadrol, you're going to feel that shit. Like, I promise you will. So, keep it in mind, guys. Be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. Leave that up to me and I'll let you know what happens so we can laugh about it later. But, you know what, guys? I think that's about it. We're going to wrap it up. This is a longer video. If you made it to the end, hey, I appreciate all of you so much. I love all you guys. If you could leave me a comment, thumbs up, anything like that, really appreciate it. Until the next time, peace out, guys.